For most of human history, everyday life operated at a slow, manual pace. Clothing, tools, and agricultural goods were crafted entirely by hand inside the homes and small businesses of regular citizens. This reliance on physical labor put a strict ceiling on production. Crafting items by hand took massive amounts of time and effort, capping the total volume of goods society could produce, and by extension, the wealth it could generate. Starting in Britain in the 1760s, businessmen and inventors began building large-scale machinery designed to bypass human hands altogether. Devices like the water frame and the spinning jenny overhauled the textile industry. Instead of spinning one fiber at a time, workers could operate a single drive wheel to spin multiple threads into yarn at lightning speed. Soon after, James Watt developed a steam engine that could reliably power this massive new equipment. Steam allowed factories to operate anywhere, pushing heavy machinery to run faster and longer than water or human muscle ever could. By monopolizing these initial technologies, Britain controlled the speed of production. They could manufacture more goods in less time than any other nation, securing a dominant position in the global market. To protect that economic dominance, the British government kept these mechanical designs strictly guarded, making it illegal to export the machinery or the plans. The monopoly broke in 1793. Samuel Slater memorized the proprietary schematics of British textile machines and slipped across the Atlantic to the United States. Slater built a fully functional textile mill in Rhode Island from memory, proving the machinery could be replicated and sparking a second wave of rapid industrialization on American soil. Almost immediately, textile factories multiplied across the landscape, turning northern cities into massive, densely packed centers of industry. Slater's success meant that Britain's technological edge had slipped away. The acceleration of industrial manufacturing was no longer confined to a single nation. Moving into the 1800s, this mechanical acceleration expanded outward from the factory floor and into the open fields. Heavy agricultural labor was automated by new tools. The cotton gin, the McCormick reaper, and the steel-tipped plow allowed a fraction of the workers to cut grain and separate seeds at a rapidly scaling volume. Heavy industry soon married mass-produced steel with steam engines, applying this new mechanical power directly to human transit. This map shows comparative travel times across the United States during the era. Overland journeys that used to require months of difficult transit could now be completed in a few days via steam-powered locomotives and steamboats. A vast network of newly laid steel rails and dug canals physically bound the expanding country together, allowing raw materials to reach factories instantly. The constraints of geography and distance, which once dictated the pace of commerce, were significantly reduced by steam and steel. Information soon began traveling just as fast as the trains. The telegraph allowed complex messages to jump across vast distances in seconds. Electrical signals traveled over suspended wires and were recorded directly onto paper tape as Morse code. In 1876, an inventor named Alexander Graham Bell pushed the technology to its next logical step. Using a rudimentary earpiece and wooden control box, Bell transmitted the first spoken sentence over a wire, telling his assistant, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." The human voice could now travel through wires. On the surface, society appeared to be accelerating into a highly connected, efficient landscape. But maintaining this extreme, unprecedented level of speed and efficiency required a massive, continuous supply of human fuel. The booming industrial cities were choking on their own growth. Factories produced massive plumes of smoke that blanketed overcrowded urban centers, where laborers lived in slums, lacking safe drinking water or basic sanitation. Inside the mills, the baseline expectations were grueling. Laborers routinely worked 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week, with zero sick leave, no vacation, and no legal protections against sudden firing. The factory floors were highly hazardous. The lack of clean air caused sickness to spread rapidly, and workers regularly lost fingers or suffered severe injuries while operating heavy, exposed machinery. Owners specifically sought out women and children to operate this equipment, as they could legally be paid a fraction of an adult male's wage for the exact same hours. Children were assigned the most lethal tasks. Barefoot boys were forced to run between active machinery or climb directly onto moving belts to clear jams, frequently resulting in permanent disfigurement or death. The economic output of mass production was entirely subsidized by the disposable bodies of the most vulnerable people in society. Further down the supply chain, the insatiable efficiency of northern textile mills created an aggressive, deadly demand for raw materials from southern fields. This chart tracks the terrifying human cost of that demand. As industrial growth spiked between 1790 and the mid-1800s, the enslaved population in the United States exploded from 500,000 to over 3 million people. Millions of individuals suffered immensely, forced into brutal field labor and domestic servitude strictly to feed raw materials into the industrial machine. The simultaneous rise of urban exploitation and the expansion of slavery pushed society toward a breaking point. These pressures turned technological change into a series of social confrontations as the human cost of progress became impossible to ignore. Citizens began to systematically organize against these conditions. Workers formed labor unions to strike for basic safety, and this broader push for rights helped propel the abolitionist and women's rights movements toward their own historic goals. The true legacy of the Industrial Revolution is the technology that built our modern world, and the modern labor and human rights laws we were forced to invent to survive it.